the heck of it, for the fun of it, is I'm going to be doing some TTRPG content just for fun. So this is something that I put together. This is a simple little generator page. This stuff is actually available already in the Starskipper's Handbook for free, which you can find on starskippergames.com. Hey. But this specific version is 5e compatible. I'm in the process of putting this together. It will be released at some point. I don't have a date for that, but if this is the type of thing that would interest you, let me know, and we can make that a priority. So I'm going to be putting together a dungeon and filling it with traps and drawing on some NPCs just using these generators right here. These are my terrific tables, MK's terrific tables. So let's just get started. So with this, the setup, it just goes kind of in a loop like this. So you get your room arrangement that shows the different ways that your rooms can be arranged. And then I'm going to be using just a simple Google Slides setup here to document this for later, because I intend to actually use this. If any of y'all happen to be in a game with me in a week or two, pretend you haven't seen this before, because this may be old hat to you by this point. Okay, here's my first question for y'all, and let me know in the chat. Would y'all prefer does it create a greater sense of integrity if I'm rolling live on stream where you can see it, or would it be better if there was the click clack sound of the dice right here on the tabletop? Because I am good for whichever one, and I'm willing to do either. It just depends on your preferences. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go get my dice so that I can have them just in case, just for the sake of ease. All right. Okay. I'm going to, for the sake of integrity, start rolling just here. And then I can change that up if need be. We're not stuck. We're not committed to anything. So we're good there. So let's see, what's our room arrangement going to be? So we got 8 options. So we're going to roll an 8-sided die. And we got 2. So 2 is sort of this like sword-looking thing. So we could either have this set up so that the left here... Okay, so Google Dice. All right. I'll commit. I'll keep doing that. So we could either come in from the left here. This could be our entrance room right there. I'm going to zoom in so we can see that a little bit. So if we come in from the left, I feel like that's the obvious thing to do. It'd be kind of fun to have sort of a build-up, and then you have to have choices before you get to the end. Or we could do this kind of weird, and you come in from here, and there's 3 ways forward, and then this connects to this room in here. Maybe the players have to do one of these. That could be interesting. I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to have this first room here be that kind of introductory room. So then we're going to go down to this first room prompt. Wish I could get that higher. I think I'm in the way of that one. What if I zoom in a lot and just pop it over here? Eh. If I get it big enough so it fills up the entire screen, then maybe we'll stand a chance. Okay, so the first room, so that entrance. So we have 6 options. So the goal with a 5-room dungeon is determining the entrance room for this dungeon. Why hasn't this place been explored before? What is the thing that stops this from already having been plundered? So we got concealed, we got a guardian protecting it, we have a horde, like a horde of goblins or kobolds or something. It's like their cave, their nest at the entrance. Maybe it's just locked, maybe there's some kind of hazard, maybe there's a trap. So let's see what the dice say. So we need a d6, and that's 4. So 4 is a locked door. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and I'm not super set on this design yet, but we're going to put this down here. I'm just wondering, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, nope, that's the wrong thing. I'm going to move me over here so that you guys can actually see a little bit better. We can see a little bit less of me. That's okay. I don't need to have the spotlight here. So we'll have our first room here, and I'll make that a little bit darker. That way we can see it a bit better. Let's see. Just go a dark gray. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay, this will be our first room. Now the room itself doesn't have to be a room. So this is our entrance, which means that this can just be a locked door. I like caves. I like caves as an entrance. I guess I played too much Skyrim. I don't know. It's just, there's something cool about, hey, look, a cave, and then you go inside and wait, this isn't fully natural looking. So I'm going to add in just a little something to tell my brain that this is a cave. kind of funky looking. No, that was fine the way it was. Okay, you go back. Actually, these don't really need an outline. That'll blend better anyway. Okay. And this is not like anything precise or specific. The goal here is just to kind of create something in a decently short amount of time. Okay, so we have our cave. And this is going to be our first little area. So I'm going to add a number 1. Where's my text box? 1. Make that darker so it pops better. And I'll give it, I don't know, maybe that font. The font type doesn't really matter. None of this really matters, but it's fun. And that's the whole point. I could do this in a little bit more chill timbre. Try to be the Bob Ross of dungeon painting. You don't have to be perfect. Make it exist first, and then you can build it better. We're just going to make a happy little dungeon entrance there. And I'm going to include a key for myself so I know what's going on. We'll put it up here for now. So number 1, make that the same font just for the sake of consistency. Are you the same color? You are the same color. Good job. So proud. Okay, that's probably going to get in the way later, but that's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. So this is our locked door entrance. Number 1. Okay. And then number 2, we have our puzzle. Now with any 5-room dungeon, you can change stuff up. You can do things in the order that works best for you. In this instance, I'm just going to go with it linearly, but you can switch stuff around. You can do things in different orders. Just whatever works. And the 5-room dungeon itself, just for clarity, this is not a concept that I have created. This is a thing that you probably have seen elsewhere on the internet. I just built this specific generator to simplify down the process. I actually used this previously in my games, and I've also used it when we had an upcoming game, we didn't have content, and I needed to make something real fast. So it's good fun. So next one is our puzzle, so we're D6 again. And you're going to give us a 5. So a 5 is a logic puzzle. Okay. All right. And it's not a, create everything for you type of generator. The goal here is just to put together something and then kind of flesh it out based on what sounds fun for you. So if we're using this design down here, I think what I'm going to do... Okay. This is kind of... So this is going to be kind of Zelda-y. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this room there. Make it easier on myself. Scale you up. Oh, you got bigger too. Okay. Get you down a little bit. And we'll connect that with a hallway here in a second. So, without having actually figured out what the puzzle is going to be, that can come later. Right now we're just figuring out how stuff is going to fit together. So, I'm actually going to take one of these and turn this into my hallway. A lot of times when I make these, I like to just put them in my notebook. So I write them down by hand, draw the dungeon out. I found that kind of fun. I don't know, it's satisfying. So we're going to do logic puzzle. And we'll come back to that to determine what that is going to be. So next up is our setback. So the goal here is to, so far the players, they've been going forward. They've found this locked door within this cave. Presumably they have the key, so that could be part of a different adventure. It could be something where maybe there are some enemies in front of the dungeon who have the key, and they find that there. Maybe the key is given to them by someone on the way to the cave, and that ends up being sort of like an inciting incident for the adventure. So that's an option. I'm not committing to any of these yet. I'm just thinking of different ideas. So for the setback, this is supposed to be something that sets the party back, makes it so that they have to kind of reevaluate what they're doing, their progress, how they're using their resources, and that type of thing. So that's 3. So 3 is hostages. So that's fun. Okay. Now I think what I'm going to do, I kind of want to do sort of a loop around. So the party comes in this way. They go to room number 2, and then they have to loop all the way around before they then are able to access room number 5 over here. I think that would just be a little interesting. So we're going to plop this down here. Trying to vary up the shape a little bit. Oh, you're still selected, aren't you? Okay. Get squished. Do maybe a longer room. Like that. That's our number 3. Okay. So hostages. Okay. And then room number 4. So this is our climax. So the big focus, this is usually a boss fight of some kind. So in Skyrim, this is you get in there and you have to fight, a big horde of these skellies or, a lich necromancer type dude, or a troll. Or I guess in the very beginning, you could argue that the bear was kind of like the boss. You didn't actually have to fight it. So maybe that's a bad example. But anyway, so we're going to roll on this one and see what we got. So number 3, the boss has secret room hazards. Okay, I'm getting an idea for this whole setup here. So I think what I'm going to do is make a much smaller box over here. Maybe a little bit longer. I know that if I have a long room with a degree of separation between the players and the boss, the ranged players are inevitably just going to beat the crap out of them. But I have thoughts. So that's going to be our number 4. So boss. And then it was boss has secret room hazards. So boss. And then boss has room. I'm just going to say traps. Partially because it fits better there. Might need to bump this whole thing down. And then what I'm going to do here is we're going to take a line between these 2 rooms. This is just so I can do this like ... thing. We're going to make it chunky. Maybe too chunky. I think that was too much chunk. Okay. Okay, this isn't working. Let's try something else. We're just going to use one of these, and then what about that? There. Something to convey to myself that there is a secret door here. So I think I'll make this a different color, make that black. So the idea, what I'm thinking is, and I might switch these 2. Because I think it would be fun if the players were fighting and the boss has kind of weaponized, like put a bunch of traps, and they have to navigate through different parts of the dungeon. So, okay. Okay, so then 5th room. So this is what the players are working towards. So the thing that makes all of this worth it. And this is kind of a 2-for-1. So with a good 5-room dungeon, you want it to feel like a complete adventure, something that has a start, a middle, and an end. But also it can be cool if it sets up other things for you, so you can, build into other adventures and do other stuff that way. So we're just going to start with this one here. So what are the players working towards? That was a D4. Okay, that's a 1. So just straight treasure. Okay. All right, so they're looking for some kind of treasure. So we will put a... I'm going to change up the shape on this one. Let's do a circle. Why not? Make that a little bit smaller. Yeah, put that over here. And we'll connect that with a secret passage, which I need to create a reminder for myself that these are in fact secret passages. Otherwise, I'm going to forget. And that would be counterproductive. What color? You're the fourth one. Okay. All right. Okay, so room 5. We need some spacing on this. I'll get to that in a second. Treasure! Okay, so the party is looking for treasure, as any good loot goblins would. But there's a twist. So what's the thing that makes it so twisty, you know? They can't just have a happy ending. That's anathema to any good story. I mean, I guess except for happy stories, but whatever. This is D&D. We all have depression. So we have a 4. Okay, a reward is one piece of a larger whole. So that can be something like they get there and the artifact that they've been searching after has multiple fragments, or in this case we said it's treasure. So maybe instead of like a pile of treasure, there's a treasure map. Maybe someone else has raided this place before. Either of those could work. So let's move this over. Yeah, you're going to go maybe not that far. Treasure. But incomplete. Okay, so there's the framework, and right out the gate, we already have a map of sorts for players to work with. So players come into a cave. Can I shrink this down more? I mean, the answer is yes. Just the question is how much. Turns out a lot. Because it's not really that big of a deal. Anyway, you can just stay like that for now. Okay, so the players come in. There's a locked door in here. And that's what gets them into this first room. The second room, I know I said I was doing it one way before, but I'm changing it. Because we are not stuck on any one idea. So I'm thinking, player comes in, you walk into the dungeon. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, this has been really fun. I know I'm tooting my own horn because I built the thing, but it's really fun. I've used it several times to make a lot of different dungeons, and it's cool. There's some other stuff that I have that I still need to add to this. So one of the things that would be really helpful right now is theming. Like, okay, is this an undead dungeon? Is this a slime dungeon? Is this a, like, horde-infested dungeon? Is this, something like that. And I have stuff for that, just not part of this thing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start fleshing this out here. So players come in, locked key, or locked door, they need a key. They get into the first room. Now this has an obvious door leading into the second chamber here, which is a very large room that has lots of hostages. So maybe the party is here because they heard about the hostages. It could be both. Maybe they're looking for treasure. Maybe they're looking for hostages. Maybe they didn't know the hostages were here. But we could set that up earlier on. So, like, when the players are in town, if we're being realistic, it's probably at a tavern. You could spread little seeds around, you know? You could have, like, missing posters, or, you know, you can overhear people talking about, like, a family member or a friend who went missing, and a number of disappearances from surrounding towns. And that kind of gives you a little bit of build up to make this, you know, make this more impactful. So we have a room full of hostages, but the question we should ask ourselves is, why can't the party just take the hostages and leave? So, okay, here's an idea. So I know I'm kind of doing this out of order, but that's okay. We're all good. This is just the process of dungeon making. If we make a couple happy little accidents along the way, it's okay. That's why we have health potions. So hostages trapped in, I'm thinking like big iron mechanical, like Iron Maiden type things. So trapped in like mechanical Iron Maidens without spikes. We don't want them to be dying. Or maybe we do. We're just going to go back here and put a question mark. I'm not committed to no spikes yet. Death is always an option, just not one that we recommend. Okay. So the players come in. You have this massive room that's full of these like big mechanical Iron Maidens. Do you have a list of questions to consider? You've been listing them off, which has been real helpful, but are they listed in the handbook? Some are, probably not all of them. That's a good idea. Actually, I'm going to write that down. We're going to make a new slide. That's a really good idea. So, questions to consider. Add to handbook. Yeah. So the thing for me is I've been a game master for over a decade, or about a decade, and I've been a writer for, I don't know, two and a half decades, somewhere around there, 2 decades, about that. One of the things that I've found that's really beneficial for me is just, there's always inevitably going to be plot holes of some kind in your story. The best thing that you can do isn't to try to make your story plot hole proof, but it's to find and identify those plot holes and then to figure out why they can exist in the story in the first place. So, and that can be a simple matter of, you know, it wasn't an option for the party. They were distracted somewhere else. You could have stuff focused on, I don't know, they didn't think of things. I guess that's more of a writing perspective where you have control over the players or over the characters. So, but it's a good thing to consider because I forget that that's not like the immediate response to stuff. So thank you for pointing that out. That is very good feedback, and I appreciate that. So hostages are trapped in Iron Maidens, so party can't really break them out. They could maybe try, but that would take a really long time to do. And in that time, because we have our bad guy in here, whoever or whatever is trapping people in these Iron Maidens. So why are they being trapped in the Iron Maidens? Because I mentioned spikes earlier. So that, okay, we have a couple options that we could go to. So if people are being trapped, that is usually, if it's a hostage situation, as in they're being held for ransom. So we could do something like someone is kidnapping people and holding them for ransom. But why do you need so many? And who's going to pay that? Like, I guess people could get together, but I feel like you have bigger odds of people teaming up and hunting you down. And like there's a locked door, but I don't feel like the big baddie here, I don't feel like their MO is like being the most stealthy, because obviously the players were able to find it. So the goal wasn't necessarily concealment, it was just enough out of the way that people don't normally come across it, and then there's some extra security in place. So this could be sort of an experimentation type thing, like we could have a mad scientist motif going on. We could have some sort of undead thing. Like, I don't know if it's pulling too much from like Warcraft, but we could have a situation where you have like a necromancer, lich type guy, or maybe they're not even like magically inclined. Maybe this is just like your Dr. Frankenstein situation where they're like taking people captive so that you can then experiment on them. I like the idea of maybe trying to create zombies or something like that. That could be cool. So that's an option. So I'm just going to add a note here, and I know this is going to mess up our formatting. Oh, not too bad. So we'll do mad scientist creating undead, question mark. That's an option. Another option, you could do maybe like a vampire type situation, because I know like vampires traditionally, they like, you know, come and you bite them on the neck and you feed that way. But maybe this is I mean, you could like combine motifs. This could be like a more empirically focused vampire who's trying to extract blood for longer periods of time. Oh, we could add some moral complexity to this. Maybe this is a vampire that's trying to figure out a way to create like a blood alternative. Oh, super soldiers. That's a good idea. I'm sorry for the delay. I don't know how to turn it off. I will figure that out next time. I don't think I can turn it off now that it's started, but next time I will. It was like 30 seconds because previously when I streamed, I did not have good Wi-Fi. So the stream quality was about a frame every minute. A slight exaggeration. Super soldiers could be cool. I'm kind of mentally, I'm thinking a lot about this, like vampire trying to find. Oh, but if we want to keep with like the moral complexity here, maybe the area that the players are in is on the brink of invasion or something like that. Like not brink, like, but like there's been building tensions for a while. So maybe this is someone who's trying to, you know, create this sort of mindless super soldier army so that they can then, you know, have that. Yeah, sustainable food sourcing. Yeah, so like the vampire option. Okay, so I feel like the two options that I'm vibing with is the maybe like a former military hero who presumed dead or presumed missing, living in exile, and they're working on creating like this new group of these super powerful soldiers so that they can, you know, protect their homeland. Or we can have vampire who's experimenting to create alternative food source. And so it's like, on the one hand, that's good because then they don't have to hurt anyone else. But on the other hand, they're hurting a lot of people to make this possible. Okay, so I'm going to say military super soldier option. That's number one. And attempted vegetarian vampire. That's option number two. I'm going to keep thinking on this. Let me know in the chat which one you think is more appealing. I'm going to let you be the deciding factor in this one as I try to think of other aspects of this. Big thing is the logic puzzle right now. Logic puzzle. I think when it comes to the puzzle side of things, I'm going to need to use more generation. Okay. This is the trap generator, but a lot of the stuff that goes on here, I'm going to use this for puzzle ideas. I'm just going to kind of throw stuff at my brain and see if anything sticks. Like, I know a trap is a type of puzzle. Let's go with super soldiers. Okay. Sweet beans. Yeah, this specifically is, this version is 5e compatible. I guess technically 5.5e compatible as well. You could really use this for anything. Like, it doesn't fit with any specific rules. The main stuff is just like trap damage and DC, and then some of the NPC species. Logic puzzle could be tiles on the floor with different symbols, and you have to push specific symbols in order to unlock something. And it would be cool. So let's do the super soldier idea because I like that a lot. And it could be stuff that's in conjunction with this like disgraced or missing military hero. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in. So let's say old military hero creating mindless super soldiers for defense. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to squeeze this a little bit that way. That way it's all one line. Okay, logic puzzle. I like the symbols. So, because those are always fun. So, follow symbols. So, this would require a little bit of outside knowledge, because I don't think it would make sense to give the party the information in the room itself. I could give them a clue. It would probably have to be something. Oh, but they don't know who this guy is beforehand. Okay, I'm gonna start the idea and then we'll figure out how to make it possible later. So follow the symbols. So we're gonna say follow 4 symbol pattern across tile floor. And then each symbol is icon for squad mates. I'm going to say fallen squad mates of hero. So there's some tragedy baked in there. Okay. Could have written piece of paper, guard's uniform. That could be cool. I want it to be something that's deeply personal to this main character. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to shrink this down a little bit. Maybe not that much. Maybe 18. And then we're going to move this down a little bit as well. That way we can fit more stuff in. Okay. So, old military hero. Follow the 4-symbol pattern across the floor. I can follow squad mates of hero. I don't know what those icons would be yet. Let's come back to this. So we know that the boss, we know who the boss is. So boss fight, old military hero. I'm going to open name, oh my gosh, fantasy name generator. Because they have a ton of stuff. So let's say if we want it to be a little more realistic, let's see, what name? What type of name? Maybe something pop culture related. I'll give him a Halo name. Let's see. Maybe Forerunners. No, that's right. Okay. I'm going to do Guild Wars. Guild Wars are cool. I love Guild Wars. Okay. Let's see. I like Clan Grip. It's a good last name. So put Clan Grip. The first name, let's see. I like Elise. Elise is good. Elise Clan Grip. Okay, the longer I'm sitting with that one. I'm going to take part of this. Where'd you go? Elise Arnfinn. So Elise Arnfinn was an old military hero. Believed. Let's see. MIA. And then boss has traps. Let's see. I think, let's see. So we could do a two-parter type thing. So they could have some kind of trap in this room to give themselves time to go through the secret side entrance. And then the goal would be having them move through this room, through the first room, and then into room 2, so that then they can have a couple super soldiers drop in waves to fight with them. So let's see. So boss, so a good trap to delay the party. Let's see. Or I guess it's a D20. So the hazardous element adhesive. I don't know if I like that for this one. Let's try something else. 19. An enemy. Okay. I mean, I guess he could. I keep saying he, but I created a she. So she could have one of these super soldier dudes already in the room, and then when the party comes in, she's like, hey, take care of this for me. And then, they attack. Let me see just further stuff in here. Because I guess the trigger, I already know what I want the trigger to be. But concealment would be good. That way the players don't just start blasting, as they tend to do. So 6, a stairway. I don't know if that really makes sense here. A statue. Okay, you know what? Sweet and simple. So, Elise Arnfinn is an old military hero who is MIA. She has, let's say, 2 super soldiers. Distract the party so she can exit, or so she can go to room 2. And then as part of the boss fight, she will unlock super, and she'll unlock, super soldiers to fight with her in waves. Good enough. Okay. Let's see. So we still haven't figured out the locked door part, and I want to go back to the logic puzzle. We don't know what the treasure would be yet, but I feel like it would be connected to something here, because why would she be protecting it? So let's see. So the locked door entrance. Actually, let's go back to what you said. So the locked door entrance, maybe they get the key, because you said guard's uniform. What if there's another member of that squad who learns about what's going on, and or maybe they're remorseful, because why would they have a key? It could either be that they found a key, or... Oh, what if they tried to... what if they were part of this? So it was the 2 of them, they were the only survivors. So half their squad is dead, and then those 2... Or I guess it would be a fire team, not a squad, but semantics. So half of them are dead, and then the 2 of them are doing this, but one of them doesn't feel good about it. So they try to defect from this, and Elise shoots them, or takes them out, and then they make their way towards the town, or wherever the party encounters them, and gives the players the information. So they, give them the key that they would have, and then a piece of paper, like you said, that has the squad mates' symbols in order of rank. And then the rank is the order for the logic puzzle. There we go. That's what we're doing. Okay, so I'm going to create another name. Let's see, pop culture. Let's do Char. Maybe this person is an orc. I'm going to do... Let's see. So So players encounter, maybe I will make this size 14. Players encounter Turok, Legion Blade. I like that. A member of the Wildstorm. Let's do it. Member of the Wildstorm fire team who fought in the last war who is bleeding out. He gives, or he tells the party that Elise Arnfinn is alive and doing bad stuff. He tells the party where to look, gives them the key, and a and a paper with the members of their fire team in order of rank and with their symbols. I'll polish this up later. Okay, so players, we have our hook. This is great. So players encounter Turok Legion Blade, who's a member of the Wildstorm fire team. He's dying. He gives them the stuff and tells them where to look. The players, they find a cave with a, bam, locked door entrance. Number 1. Locked door entrance. Number 2, hostages who are trapped in mechanical iron maidens, which are which have mutated them into super soldier zombie things. Okay, we can get rid of this one because we already have that. So the logic puzzle, so follow the 4-symbol pattern across the floor, and then this is the order of ranks for Wildstorm Fire Team. Yay! So players come in, they find the door, which that in itself is like a little bit of searching. They get into the first room, go into the second, and you have big room full of all these sarcophagus things, these big iron maidens that are pumping these hostages full of stuff. They go into the next room. There's a logic puzzle. What's the penalty for the logic puzzle? If you step on a wrong thing, what happens? Let's see. Let's get a hazard. 19. We already have an enemy. 12. Magic or a curse. I like it. I don't feel like it's applicable here. 7. Acid. Okay. So that could either be like the a tile breaks, it falls down like a flop down type thing. That could be a fall, so a pit hazard. I'm gonna do that. Stepping on wrong tile activates trap doors, which drop into acid. Beautiful. I mean, not the party. The party will be dead. So not good. So logic puzzle, you follow that, you get all the way through, you get to the next room, you step into the boss fight room, this room here, and this could be a lab, or maybe it's just quarters, you know, like a living space. So, like this, number 2 was the lab area, and number 3 was for the sake of security. But the people who worked here, they would know how to access this, so they wouldn't really have to worry about that. So this is more of a deterrent than anything else. So they're able to come in here. So this is more of a living space. It's a little more comfortably decorated. So I'm going to say comfortable. Well, we'll put that in quotation marks. So comfortable living space. Encounter, at least Arfin, who is the old military hero who is MIA. There are 2 super soldiers. And they're hiding behind statues. They distract the party. Yeah, because there were statues earlier and then I never actually put it in. So go down a little bit. Give me a little more room. So they distract the party. So she can go to room 2. So they attack. She escapes. She goes through room 1 and into room 2. And then every round or so, more super soldiers get unlocked. So they are then able to join in the fight. Okay. All right. So they beat her. And they beat the super soldiers. Okay, so the treasure. So room 5. So the party is... Okay. What could a good treasure be? Because this is... I mean, this isn't like they're hoarding treasure. This is more like a... I mean, I guess they would need resources. So, I mean, it could be something like information about the process, about the transformation. Maybe it's an alchemical supply. Maybe that's the lab. Like, where the actual alchemical stuff was created. Okay. Okay, so we'll say hidden lab, alchemical lab. Hidden alchemical lab contains recipes and reagents for for powerful elixirs. But then there's the twist that the treasure is incomplete. Oh, okay. Okay, here's a thought. I know I keep unkilling members of this. Maybe... Oh, okay, here's an idea. So maybe... maybe Turek had his own lab, and the research and everything that they were doing was split between two labs. So that gives you a follow-up that you can then build a bigger adventure off of. So Turek has been working on stuff, feels like it's immoral, goes to this location, and both of them have keys for each other's place. So Turek would give them 2 keys. Gives them 2 keys. So, recipes and data are incomplete. Half. You should also be lowercase. This is not the most readable font. We make mistakes, and it's okay. Half of everything is at 2. Where do you have my new line? Lab. There is a map which shows the locations of both labs in relation to each other. Players must find the second lab to gain the full picture. All treasure and the completed recipes for the elixirs. Cool. I want to put this in a different font because this is a pain to read. Nope, that's too basic. We're gonna, nope. Okay. You know what? Good old Cambria. We're sticking with Cambria. So, okay. So obviously there's a couple little things that still need to be fleshed out. So any information about Turek Legion Blade, which I can use this table to generate stuff for him, as well as for Elise Arnfinn. Exactly who she is, any information about her. This I can use to get personality and all that. And as I mentioned at the start of the stream, all 3 of these in their Starskipper variant are currently already live in the Starskipper's Handbook, which is on starskippergames.com. I'll drop that in the chat, actually. Yeah. Anyway, that'll be a little bit of a delay. But starskippergames.com in the chat. You can find the Starskipper's Handbook, which has these already, their Starskipper form for the for the commander section. So that's chapter 2. You can use those existing forms in pretty much any TTRPG that you want. There's a couple minor things that need to be tweaked, and that's what I am currently working on. Well, among other things. So the species, for example, in the Starskipper will show Starskipper species, but we do have stuff cooking so that it can be compatible with other things as well. So, like I said, there's a couple minor things. So, exactly the format of the tile puzzle. So, what that's going to look like map-wise. Maybe some room layouts. But beyond that, this is pretty much everything. It really just needs a little bit of polishing and a little bit of embellishment. So, there we have it. Let's see, what are we going to call this? Because I haven't named this yet. We're going to call this the Arnfin Alchemical Asylum. I don't think I spelled asylum right. I did. Did I? Who knows? Okay, so that's all the stuff we have there. So the Arnfin Alchemical Asylum. This is our 5-room dungeon that we made in about an hour. So this is an adventure that we could throw at the players. We already have a hook. We already have NPCs. Needs a little bit of polishing, but you can go through and do all this stuff. And I think this is... Hey, I'm glad that this has helped. I'm going to be doing more streams like this, hopefully with more resources in the future, depending on what I'm able to make and put together for this. I just realized now that some of the text is cut off because my screen isn't centered. I'll fix that next time. Or I could fix that now, so that next time I don't have to worry about it. Ta-da! Amazing. It took all of 3 seconds. Okay, so that is pretty much everything that I'm going to be doing tonight. I'm going to be doing another stream like this, making some more content. There are some other types of things that I'm thinking about doing, whether it's a live stream that's focused predominantly on just writing, just general writing. More things that have to do with development, whether it's dungeon creation, little adventures like that, whether it's creature creation for creating unique monsters and enemies, as well as some TTRPG stuff. I know for me, I got into game development and TTRPG creation just doing D&D homebrew, and so I can go over and show some homebrew stuff as well as just some general things to look for when making TTRPG content. But that is everything I'm going to be doing tonight. If you have any stuff that you want to see or any topics that you want to talk about, let me know. We also have the Starskipper Games Discord server, which I believe you can still join from our website. I have to double check that. If not, I will fix that so that you can. Or if you already know me in real life, just reach out to me and I can get you set up for that. All right, that's going to do it for this. Thank you for joining me for this chill stream, just making some stuff. And I'll be back in a couple of weeks with another one. So, thanks. Appreciate you.